Hey everybody, it's that time again, the day that I'm trying to be more consistent and say hi. Wednesdays, that's the day I'm aiming for. My messy hair. I kind of tend to do these one takes quite often first thing in the morning when it's quiet for me, in my little office space with the messy shelf that I never will get to. After years of keep saying I'm going to do it, I know that I'm never going to do it. And I mean, years I'm rocking back forward in my chair. It'd be, make it a bit odd in the video, isn't it? Um, I was talking about sort of the sort of theme today is kind of the history and experiences that I've had during my work. She knows, just that you know that. Um, my work life experience. I need things in my hands to twiddle because I'm a very, I don't know. I need to fiddle. Is it called? Um, yeah, like the fidget. Is it fidget cue twisters? I haven't got what's over there. Um, I'm waffling, aren't I? But anyway, yeah. So the kind of the history of things that I've seen whilst I've been working after I went back into education and came out because I worked in the building trade for a number of years before I went back into education, then came out in IT, and I've been working in IT for nearly 30 years now. To show my age, but the kind of things I've seen, there's quite a few stories I kind of can give, such as everybody's seen videos of people smashing things up, and I've experienced something of that similar. That's a story for another day. So yeah, I might share some of those during these Wednesday share sessions, and I'm going to call them. But the first one, I'm going back right at the very beginning of time. So the very first job I had, I was there for about 4 months out of living university. It wasn't the right role for me, to be fairly honest. And then I've got some stories of the actual next role I did because that was quite an interesting one, um, working for quite a large company. But the first company was a very small company, and it's not the kind of thing you get now as a job. But yeah, it was quite. It would have been a very. It wasn't very well paid, to be honest. I think at the time it was about 14 grand a year. But to be honest, again, we're going back to the late 90s, so 14 grand was worth a lot more than it's worth now. Um, but I remember it was a small company, and what they did, there was a product that was sold. It was a warehousing product, if I remember correctly, that was sold by another company. And what this company did, they did bespoke um, tools for that product. Um, it's a bit, so it's kind of like it's like, even though the tool was sold by a third company, we still had access to the source code. And what it seems like the kind of the dream job now for people who don't want to do a lot, to be quite honest, because you get a briefing, and the brief would be like something like, oh, we want to add this sort of naming to search category, for example. So they could actually do a search on the name of a product, for example. Whereas out of the box, maybe you can. I can't remember the exact. It was things similar to that, but it wouldn't be named. Be like, order number or something silly like that. And so the code was all written in C, and the code was literally half the fixes, not all of them, but a lot of the fixes were like about 5 to 10 lines of code that you basically create a new function or a new bit of code. Um, and there wasn't really much structure back then as opposed to now, where there's a lot of structure. In fact, there's a lot more process now than there was then. But I remember you get like a sheet of paper as your kind of entire brief or spec of what they want, and it's quite woolly in how you do it. It's literally like, oh, we want to be able to search on category, and that'll be it. And like, it'll be up to you to figure out how to do it. So it's kind of interesting from a lot of people's perspective, certainly mine, how much has changed since then. Because back then it was literally, you had very free will. They weren't overly, but the testing would be, just put in a couple of values and see if it finds it, and that'll be it. These days, obviously, you have to have like a test harness. You'd add a function, and you'd have an entire number 2, 3 tests to test that and make sure it'd be all working fine. But yeah, it's amazing how over history it's changed. And certainly that first job, as I say, I was there for about 4 months, and then I left to go to work for a bigger company, sort of because the progression there wasn't. For a graduate, you need somewhere that can actually help you progress your kind of experience, and obviously I wasn't getting much time there to progress it. So there was about 4 people there, including me, developer wise, and it was just, even though it was only small tasks, there were quite a lot of things coming in. So you'd end up doing like two plus tasks a day, 2+ code releases a day. So yeah, so experience wise, that's the kind of the first thing I ever did in IT, and it may differ from what you do if you're just coming into IT now, because obviously it's completely changed, and even I still work in IT, so I kind of, it's amazing how the progression of a role has happened. But yeah, the next company I worked for, which I won't talk about now, was a large company, and there was a couple of interesting things there. In fact, there's quite a few interesting things. As I say, wait until I get to a company where there was a guy that liked to lose his cool, shall we say. So that's a story for another day. That's my story for today. And I've taken up 6 minutes of your time with my waffle and then my short story. So wait for the next one. Right. I'll do one of these next week, and who knows, I may try some of those auto-generated things between now and then, because it's quite interesting playing around with AI and AI video generation and AI generation of other stuff. So yeah, I might introduce some of those as I go along. I just prod them in, poke them in, or whatever you want to call it, whenever I do them. Right, I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye for now.